Hello and welcome to the second part of our first GitHub tutorial. This time we'll talk about the GitHub desktop client, and we'll also have a first look at the repository that we'll actually be working with. I explained to you in the last video how to use the GitHub online basically interface to make changes to the files. And if this has been really the first time that you've interacted with GitHub, and if you say, okay, this has been already quite a struggle for me to grasp technically, then you can leave it at that. That is perfectly fine. But actually, it would be a little bit recommendable to use the desktop client because it has a few advantages that I will get into in a second. So to start off, to install the GitHub desktop client, we will just Google this quickly and we'll find the website to do so. From here on, you can just install it as long as you have a Mac or Windows. I obviously already installed the client, so I'm not going to go through all of this process now. But instead, I'm going to just open it up for you. And, well, it is going to look like something like this for you if you use it for the first time. Okay, so we have the desktop app installed, and we now have just found the repository that we're looking for. Once we click on it, we can see beautifully all kinds of folders, and here there's a folder with data. We have a description here that we'll get to later, and we see that we're on the master branch. So similarly as I showed you in the last video, we're not working on the master branch because that is something that only our techie is allowed to do. So we're going to create another branch. In this case, we're gonna call it testing branch. And now we can actually clone this to our desktop. And in case you're wondering what that means, basically what it means is that we're downloading everything that is inside this repository on our local machine, which gives us the ability to manipulate the files on our local machine. It gives us the ability to work offline, and it has all kinds of other benefits. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go to clone. We're going to say open in desktop. Going to launch the application, and it's going to ask us where we would like to store the repository. So we're going to clone this, and as you can see, it gets to work immediately and downloads all the files contained inside the repository. What actually happens during this process is that, as I have previously said, GitHub downloads all the folders within the repository and places them in a folder, in this case on our desktop. So as you can see, it's not yet complete, but all the files are downloading. And now it's complete. So we see kind of in a more beautiful display, we see where we are right now. We see the testing branch that I just created, so we can switch to that. And as you can see, so far there have been 0 changes. So how would we change something once we have the desktop app installed? It's also very simple. We go to our folder. Let's say we want to manipulate the README MD in here, or this is one of the main advantages of having it on your desktop. You can actually use your own folder structure that you're much more used to than working with an online interface. You can view all the files. You can just quickly view a PDF file, and you can get into manipulating the data as well. So using a text editor of your choice, we're going to post a few options below this video. You could, for example, open this README MD. You will see here, okay, so there has been a typo. This is, of course, a ERDF font. You can save this, and boom, there you go. You've made your first change to a file within the repository. So, of course, at this point, it is just on your computer. So how do you get it back to the repository? We're going to look at that now. So I'm going to go back to the desktop app. Going to make sure that I'm still in my correct branch. And then I'm going to see here already there's one uncommitted change. The change is shown over here, so you can see I've added this line where this is different. And again, I will have to make a commit where I describe what I just did. So what I did was fix the typo, and now I can commit. Actually, the commit has taken place now. We'll hit sync. And what happens right now is that the desktop app actually syncs our changes to the repository. Test branch. All right. And there we can see it. Okay, now it worked. Well, this actually already kind of concludes what you can do. Basically, it is the same thing that I've shown you before. Never commit directly to the master. Always make your own branch, make your changes there, and then commit them to your branch. Well, this is basically what you need to know about the desktop application. And for everything else, in terms of what we actually do with this repository, we will you will learn more in the next tutorial session that is probably going to be hosted by Anna. So thank you very much for your attention, and bye bye.